Welcome back to Limq Plus, everyone. On this channel, I'm 100%ing Breath of the Wild by a bit every day until Tears of the Kingdom comes out, which is today in 19 days. We've reached the 20-day barrier. There's only one more 10-day barrier to breach, and that's incredibly exciting. Now today, I want to talk about something that I call a Tears of the Kingdom reality check, and this is probably going to be not too exciting for a lot of you, and especially in the background that recently I talked about. I want people to kind of have their minds spiral out of control, come up with all of these exciting possibilities for Tears of the Kingdom story. But I want to talk about one thing in particular today that I've kind of opened my eyes to, that I think could disappoint some people if they go too wild. So I want to put out this video as some sort of reality check, puts out some facts that I believe are kind of hard to ignore, and maybe this is going to make it so that people at least think that this is a possibility, think about the fact that this is a possibility, and they don't get super disappointed when the game comes out, because I believe there's a lot of evidence that what I'm talking about is true. Now also, I want to mention that the way I arrived at this conclusion and the hints that I basically now noticed, I don't think I would have noticed as strongly without talking to French content creator Rincoto. Now, Rincoto I actually didn't really know about before I started making Tears of the Kingdom theory stuff, which is still not going to be my main thing. I know I'm talking about them pretty much every day right now because I'm excited for the game, but I'm a speedrunner after all, and I will be speedrunning Tears of the Kingdom when the game comes out. But Rincoto is incredibly impressive. Also, spoiler story warning, I am very impressed by Rincoto's work. He has an incredible background in Japanese culture, history, and his theories are insanely reflected and grounded in facts. Everything that he talks about makes sense, and I highly recommend checking out Rincoto on YouTube. All of his theories are in French, but they all come with subtitles, and they will be some of the most impressive content you've seen. And I am very sure that a lot of what he's talking about is very likely to at least be in some form in the game. So be aware that these theories are pretty reflected, and they've kind of opened my eyes to this reality check. The reality check is going to be about Ganondorf and Hyrule Castle and the events that we are probably going to play through in the present. Now, previously, I actually looked at the shot of Ganondorf's rehydration from the new trailer. We see the Ganondorf that has been heavily advertised by Nintendo on top of the Great Plateau, and the shot of his left arm actually shows the broken plateau walls from Breath of the Wild. This made me think, okay, this shot is probably in the present, we'll actually run into this sky. His right arm shot, though, shows a completed Mount Hylia, which made me think, okay, so this is in the past, maybe we see the scene twice. And some people told me maybe the broken plateau wall is an oversight, which I at first believed is pretty unlikely, given that Nintendo should probably be pretty thorough in their final trailer for the game. But I actually now believe that it's possible that this is an oversight. I've actually went back into Breath of the Wild's memories, and there are some oversights like that in place as well. And too many things in my mind speak for the fact that the rehydrated version of Ganondorf is actually someone in the past, and the version of Ganondorf that we deal with, at least in the present as we play the game for the most part, is actually the mummified version of Ganondorf, and they might even still be restricted to only act from the underground. I know this is already probably annoying some people because they don't actually want this to be the case, but this is the entire point of the video, right? A reality check where you listen to these facts and at least consider them, just to kind of like temper expectations a little bit. Now, I personally, after talking to Rincoto, believe that this advertised version of Ganondorf is actually the former Gerudo King, that in this shot of the Shrine of Resurrection gets into his like Demon King form, his final form. This form then gets sealed, and that's the underground Ganon that we meet in the first teaser, the sealed version, which is why he has that flowing red hair and malice eyes, and malice is literally leaking out of him. Now, going to the present, we've seen shots of this corpse kind of rising up, but why do I believe that this form is still restricted to the underground and has actually not left and kind of rehydrated? This is mainly due to a lot of things that have recently appeared in promotional stuff for the game, especially trailers and even advertisements, or the official advertisements that the Nintendo of Japan account actually posted this time. And let's talk about those. So first of all, I always questioned why Hyrule Castle is flying. Did Ganondorf want to make Hyrule Castle fly because it looks cool, because he feels safe there? I doubt it. In fact, I believe Hyrule Castle is not even really flying. I believe it's essentially on a pillar of malice that's bursting from the ground. Think of it like a huge like fontaine of malice that the castle is basically floating on. If you think about Death Mountain, it looks like this malice is coming from underground as well. It's basically erupting with malice, and obviously that's kind of how volcanoes work. They are connected to the depths of the earth underground. Even in Skyward Sword pre-story, the earth cracked, and that's where the evil basically surfaced from. Now, for example, talking about the malice holes, right? I was actually baited there, and Nintendo did a good job of this. I always thought these malice holes come from these blood moon malice meteors. We see these meteors fly in one of the trailers, kind of attacking the ground and spawning monsters. But I actually believe these holes are the origin of these meteors. Malice is bursting out from the ground, flying up into the sky, and then spawning monsters on the surface. This makes more sense to me now. Think about the sinkholes in the Gerudo Desert. These, in my mind, are no longer sinkholes or quicksand. It's literally just a hole. Sand is draining from the desert underground. Think about the whirlpool seen at Lake Hylia on the Japanese website. I know this whirlpool has some interesting and exciting implications, but I believe that this is literally a drain. Literally think about draining your bathtub. You drain the water and there's this sort of whirlpool. I think Lake Hylia is literally draining because holes have appeared in the surface from the malice attacking from below. If Ganon was around in Hyrule, why have we not really seen malice flying around, just like in Breath of the Wild, flying around the castle? It seems to still be coming from underground, which is why I believe that Ganondorf is in fact still underground and might not even be quote-unquote hydrated yet. He might maybe hydrate later in the game, but at least for the most part, it seems like he is still in that mummified version, and that's probably who we are going to have to deal with for the most part. Again, this is probably going to be not super exciting for a lot of people. I am sure a lot of people hope for Ganondorf to be in his like former glory when we face him as a boss, and I obviously have no idea how that's gonna go. Maybe he will eventually reincarnate to be this form. Maybe he's gonna reincarnate to be this demon form to make it a little bit more exciting. Maybe Link can even go into the present. Sorry, not in the present, in the past, to face this version, to prevent this entire upheaval from ever happening in the first place. But again, I'm not super sure about it, and I kind of want to make this video because I think a lot of evidence hints towards the fact that the Ganondorf that we are going to meet is still in the mummified state and might even be restricted to the underground boundaries of the game. And I, again, kind of want to make this video to temper expectations without being a dick, because I still believe a lot of other ways are possible. This might not be how the game plays out, but there is a bunch of evidence that kind of speaks towards it. So I wanted to make this video, and also at the same time give a huge shout out to Rincoto, because he is incredibly impressive, and I definitely urge you to check out his theories. They are once again in French, but there are subtitles available for all of them, so keep that in mind. I think they're super worth checking out. Incredibly impressive guy with a huge Japanese culture background and very good knowledge. That's basically the video I wanted to make today. I'm sure some of you might maybe get upset at this, but I'm not doing this out of a malicious intent, but more like, oh wow, a lot of facts actually speak towards this. Maybe we should think about this being a possibility before we all get super excited and then get disappointed when the game comes out. But that's pretty much it for the day. Thank you for watching anyway. Let me know what you think. Tears of the Kingdom is out in 19 days now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you tomorrow.